listeners, Harika here, and I'm super excited to welcome you to UppTalk. If you're ready to learn and get your hands work wonders in the world of information technology, then you're in the right place. When I say UppTalk, we are not just another edtech company. Consider we are your learning partner committed to unlocking your full potential. Whether you're stepping into the world of technology for the first time or looking to advance your career, we provide top-tier, hands-on courses to build up your career. Let's take our first step towards learning here and explore it.
First, we'll find out the pen category. For that, we'll go to this task called Maintain Pen Category. And we did not create a hierarchy for that. It will be under this Maintain Spending Categories without hierarchy. And we did create one thing called Entertainment right here. This is what we did. Let it go. Basic 1. It can be used on error payment expenses, procurement, supply and noise regulation with my purchase order. Fair enough, that should cancel. Now we'll just cancel. Now let's figure out the purchase item. For that we'll just say purchase item. Entertainment. Let's see what we had last time. Show ticket. And this is the show ticket for Ed Sheeran. This would be like a dot in each. Cost would be US dollars here. And the usage would be an ordering here. Fair enough. Regression fulfillment source would be purchase order here. Right now we are seeing many basic examples. We're not using text applicability here. We'll see item status is active. It's tagged to entertainment here. Nosiru. Now what we'll do is that I'll create a company for us. A dummy company. And that company we would use for all the supply and noise transactions and purchase orders also. And for requisitions also. Let me create that company quickly. The task is create company. To create that company, either we can do that or we can find out some other company. Let me see. Type company here. And I'll say that was the Flying Car PFC. If I remember this should be working fine. We can use this company. Let me see the rules. Enough. We'll use this dummy company here called Tesla Flying Cars. This we would use for our supply transactions. Purchase order receipts and everything. Now the company is there which we can use. I'll just set up one but we'll use this company. This is already a created one, an existing one that we're using. Let me see a new tab. The task to create a company is this one at Create Company. Now, what is a reorg? A reorg is nothing but a place to track what happened with the company and when. In simple terms, like when that company was set up, who set up that company, who assigned the roles to that company, when that company was assigned to a company hierarchy, when the call centers were created and they were tagged to a company hierarchy. And basically like organization audit in terms of like setup and when it got moved from one place to another place. You got the point for reorg. What is a reorg? It's the simplest place to do and search of audit trails of a company setup. We'll just use Tesla here. I'll show you that. And now I have a question in your mind right now that how to create this reorg. We are seeing an existing value. Then no worries, I'll just show you on this page itself. The task to create a reorg is very simple. Just type. Now, let's say let me just think of a good name here. The Olive Garden, the Olive. Now that we make this reorg, it is nothing but the effective date of this operation, from which date it will start capturing the details. As I say, Zolo on 9. Typically in Workday implementations, and when you set up the companies, like once you go there, definitely if you acquire a new company like this year, next year you will put that date only. But normally, typically we put this date as the effective date that anything happened after this date, we can capture it in the system. If a company is set up after Zolo 1 1900, they can be assigned to this reorg for tracking purpose. Soon you will see. Right now, it may look something different to you. That's why we're doing this, that and everything. But slowly and gradually, it makes sense. That's why we are setting up these things, because these things we would be using in the front actions. I'll just say the olive here. Now to set up a company, we have to say create company now. And reorg would be the olive. Now, once you do that with the task called create company, it will by default bring the availability date of the reorg. If I would have put like 5th of December here, it would have shown 5th of December here as by default. But as we put up Zozo 1 1900, it's taking the effective date from this field here. You can change it anytime if you want. Let's say the Olive Garden. Typically, companies have codes like TS1001 or TS or TSP1002, TSP1005, like that. Every company-specific code defined by the system of the business owners. For this one, we will say this is OG's all-in-one. If you want to bring this code in the name, click on this checkbox here and then you will see. First, it will show this code and then this name here. Subtype would be a company. What is this subtype of it? We are creating a company, but what is the subtype of it? It can be a branch, it can be a legal entity of store business center, something like this. But for now, we just say company. Visibility is everyone. Company currency is USD. Now a very important point here. Jason, that once you set up a company currency here and you do a transaction, any transaction, like you create a manual journal or you create any operational transaction. When I say operational transaction, like your customer invoice your supply, invoice their payments, refunds, all those things. The moment you hit first transaction or you sign an account posting, we will talk about that in this coming slides now or coming pages. Once you do that, you won't be able to change the company currency. It is very important that you put the right currency here. If you put the wrong currency and you do a transaction, then you won't be able to change this currency at all. Then you have to inactivate your company and then recreate a new company with current details. This is very important that while setting up the company, you put the right company currency here. I'll hit. But remember, we have to use this. Now we'll just say here it. As you can see, this code is coming before the name here. And these three dots, as we saw last time, these are called orange dots or related action. Or three dots, very commonly spoken in the Workday community. Three dots or related action as we call it. Then once we do that, we have to go to this page, Integration ID. And then we have to add this Integration ID here. Now, if you want to search this company, it's very easy. If you type the code here, OGS2001, it will immediately pop up the company name here. As you can see, OGS2001, our company is set up. Click on details here. Availability data 0193. Company is this. Visibility is everyone. Company currency is US dollars. Now we'll add some more details. Without that, we'll not be able to use this company for any transaction. We'll come here, these three dots. Then we'll to this company link. From the company link, we'll go to this added company accounting details. As you can see, we are still able to change this currency because we have not done a transaction for this company. And that's like a long process. We'll just come to that. But before that, we have to do some configurations, pre-configurations. We can use this company. The company currency is still available for us to change. Fiscal schedule. It's nothing like the financial year. We have financial year like January to December, April to March. Those are the fiscal schedules. In these fiscal schedules, you have months like January, March, April, May, June, July, August. Those months, like we typically call them as months outside of Workday. But in Workday, we call those months as periods like January period, February period, March period, April period, May, June, April period, like all those things. Workday terminology can be a little bit different. What we normally speak outside of Workday, we call them as months as like January, February, March, April. In Workday, we call the same thing as periods. Fiscal schedule is nothing. It's just your financial year. That's all. We'll go to the fiscal schedule. We are looking for 2022. Let me pick the right one, otherwise will be, because it's a practice tenet. A lot of people do practice here. No worries, Tipsy. Now, this one is about Workday. Let me copy this one. I'll just show you also what it looks like. Let me go to this one first. Let me just see the details here. Let me copy paste. Oh, it's not showing up. Up. Oh, that's right. Then we just put the concept here. Come on. See? I'll just show you each and everything. Let me just use the existing languages here. CFA account control set. Standard corporate controls. Standard corporate controls. Standard corporate controls. Standard corporate controls. Now let's see how it looks like. I'll click on this. I'll show you each and everything here. What it looks like, what it contains. As you can see, fiscal schedule name here. Fiscal years, just like we have financial years. Fiscal is just nothing, financial as we call it. We'll just check the 2022 here. We can see the year number here. Year name. When it starts and when it ends. January to December. In Asian countries, they follow like 1st of April, 30th, 1st of March. But typically, in Western countries, the calendar starts from January to December. And if you look at on this link here, you can see the posting intervals here. As we call them, months outside of Workday. Here we call them as posting intervals or periods. We have January, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, December. And this is the fiscal period. The start date and end date. Now let me just how to close this tab. How to move this bar here. Looks good now. Now we'll talk about CFA here. Now, what is an account set? As the name suggests, if you break the word account set, account plus set. A set of ledger accounts and the details. Ledger accounts are what? Like your balance sheet accounts, your profit and loss accounts, income account, expense accounts. Your ledger accounts basically. As you can see, there are 206 ledger accounts here. They are all part of the accounts are called CFA. Identifier is nothing but the ledger accounts number. 02 and 3, 04 are basically ledger accounts. Then the account name. It can be like your fixed asset expenses, depreciation, salary and XYZ. That's called account name. Ledger account type. As I said, like we have different categories of account type. Either you have like income account, expense account, liability account, balance sheet accounts, and all the profit and loss accounts. all the different types of ledger accounts. Suppose you want to add anything here. If we just say create account set, same thing will pop up but will not make any changes. Will not create a new one because we already have a good one to use. We'll click on these three dots, as we call it, or related action button here. Then we'll say account set added. We'll just add one more account here. Let's say click on this added here. And this will give us an option to click on this plus button here. We'll put some random number here. Let's say 75221 like this. Account set name. Let's say the olive salary. Something like this. This is an expense account. When you pay salaries, obviously this is an expense you're doing. We'll select account type here. And we'll select expense. And we'll say that account 75221 has been added to the account set now. We'll use this just after this, like going through all the options of the added accounting details. We'll add some quantity details of the company and then the spend category that we have used, that we have created in the system. We'll go to the account posting rules set also. Let me just close it. Because we have just added one less account for our demo purpose. I'll close it. Then the other thing. Account control rule set. What does it mean? As the name suggests, account control. Controlling the account and rule plus set of rules for that. If you see the screen here, that's the name of this account control rule set. This account control rule set used the account set called CFA, under which we just added one new ledger account just like the second before. The currency of this account control rule set. Again, you can create product account control rule set. There's no restriction or limitation by working on that. But there would be a currency of this account control rule set. And again, if you want to create it, it's very easy. Same page will open up if you just type this task. Create account control rule set. Same screen will open up, but we'll not go to that. We'll just say we account control rule set. Then CFA, the account set we just created before this task. Which companies are using this account control rule set? Remember, we went to our company. We set company and it company counting details, and under that we use this account control rule set. From there it gets information that how many companies are using this account control rule set. And if you look at the olive, it shows the name here also. Let me show you that the olive. The olive is that. Maybe the effect. See the olive button. Because we didn't use this one in our, our configurations. That's why it's showing up the company name that, yes, this company is using this account control rule set. Now, that's the header of the page. What about the lines here? Bottom of the page. What it does? As you can see, we have a general threshold here, which is 25,000 USD. But at the line level, we have different thresholds for different things. For example, this cash. And I mentioned 1500 here. What I'm telling, the system here is that if anyone creates a manual journal, like they go to a task called create journal and then manually create a journal. And if they use this ledger account called 10,000 cashier, or basically a cash ledger account, if they use then, and if the amount in the journal is more than 1500, it has to be like 51, 15 to 2 or 3, then it would go for approval. It has to go to for approval for someone to review that. Yes, for this ledger account the amount is correct and this can be approved. We'll see some example if time permits. Like I'll just show you how it will stop the users from, entering more than that without approval. Like it will definitely ask them for an approval if you put 15 onto 1 there. If time permits, I'll show you that. Now, this is for manual journals. Remember this, the name here account control rule set. If you break the word, it is basically a control mechanism for your manual journals. That's all. Now this is about your manual journals. Accounting happens two ways in Workday. That the other way is your operational transactions. Now, what are your operational transactions? Operational transactions like your customer voices, your supply invoices, your receipts, your ad hoc payments, your advances and expenses and all those things. Those are your operational transactions. For operational transactions, we have different mechanism to tell the system that what ledger account they have to use, and that is called account posting rule sets. We'll just click on this See New tab. Now this is the header, and as you can see, the same option we have here also used by how many companies? It is going to say 68 companies are currently using this account posting rule set. The account control and account posting rule set. There are two different rules. Account control rule set is used for your manual accounting journals. But anytime you create a customer voice supply invoice, that will create an accounting for it. And based on the ledger account qualifications, here the system will decide what would be debited, what would be credited. Let me give an example here. This time we'll add our Spanakeric also that we created. Let's talk about the left-hand side options we have. All these options. Come on. All these things. Here are your different operational transaction category. Like accumulated depreciation, business asset liability, business asset donation disposal gain disposal, all the cash deferring revenue. All these are your different operational transaction categories. Under these categories, we have defined the rules at the line level and the header level. We'll talk about that also. I'll go to Spend. Operational transaction category. I'll click on this Added Posting rule and then we'll talk about this in a minute also. What does it mean? Why we have default ledger account and everything here? Now let me first explain you how the system captures that what account would be debited, what account would be credited, and why we have these ledger accounts here, what it does. First, the system will start from the top from this line level rule condition section. It will say, first, let me check the dimension in the background. The company that you used in your transaction is Tesla Flying Cars. Fair enough. First condition matter. Then the system will check the spend category which is getting linked or which is getting used in this transaction. That is entertainment. Then if it meets both condition, remember it has to match both condition here that the company on the transaction was Tesla Flying Cars and the spend category was entertainment. Then it will hit to this ledger account called 6855, which is an expense account. 68855 would be the resulting account that would be used. If the both conditions are met, if the company that we are creating invoice for supplying for is Tesla flying cars and spend categories entertainment, then it would hit to this ledger account 68055. Clear on this? Great. Now what happens? Suppose there are like 53 lines here, 53 different conditions here. The system went one by one by one. It says everything. The company combination, the spend category combination will be a different combination, but it could not meet the criteria, or it could not find something to post to. Then what the system will do? It will come to the header. It has checked all the 53 conditions here, but it did not find anything which is met. Then what the system will do? System will come here, and we will look for default ledger account of this specific category here. Remember, the category name is spend. The system will come to the header here in the background, and we will see. Let me find out the default ledger account, as I could not find a specific ledger account. I'll hit the transaction, or I'll post the transaction to 6855. If it doesn't find any matching criteria here, if it doesn't find any matching criteria or anything here, then it will hit to default ledger account. Now think, now suppose that even there is no default ledger account. It could not find anything in the dimension and values. It could not find a default ledger account. What will happen? The system will throw the operational transaction into an error mode. And it will tell you also that why there is an error with the operational transaction accounting. Maybe the ledger accounts could not be found or some other issues, X, Z. But it will show you. For that, I'll just show you a report. Now it's very easy. First, for that specific category here, spend. And then there's a description also by Workday for each category here. The spend posting rules identifies the account used to record the purchase of an item. Typically an asset account or expense account. That's how the system calculates that I need to go for this. If you're talking about the spend of a purchase, then I should go to this category here. Now let me look here. Once you do that, let's close. Now, other important option that we have to think of is journal reversal options. Then we have two options here. This is like typical, very typical normal configuration for a company. These are the basic things you need to do in order to start a transaction. Journal reversal options. Now, what does it mean? Suppose there was an accounting journal or an operation transition. The operation transition got reversed or got cancelled. Then the system has to revert the accounting also. Let me explain you with some Excel here. Let me see if I have the Excel here. Download. Now let's say you did create one supplier invoice. And for that the system created this entry. It has, let me see, credit. It has debited the ledger account. called ledger account. For debit, it has debit a ledger account called 2255 and it has credited A59. The amount was like say 100. It is when the system create or somebody else created a supply invoice or purchase order of a payment. This was the entry. Now suppose you have cancelled the supply invoice or customer invoice. Now what will happen is the system has to revert this accounting because the system cannot keep this transaction in the books because the original transaction of the supply invoice has been cancelled out. There is an impact on the books that has to be reversed out. If I select the first option here, reverse debiting the rate, what the system will do? As the name says, reverse. Let me just write it down. Reverse debit and credit. Suppose if you select the first option, what will happen is reverse debit. Debit was debited here and credit account was this. What our system will do? Now, once you cancel the supply invoice, right, the system has to revert. This time A591 would be debited and 2255 will be credited. Now what happens if you select the second option? Keep debit credit and reverse the sign. Keep debit and credit means, let me just write it down. What does it mean? It simply means that now, as the line says, keep debit and credit as it is right. Do not change them but reverse the sign. For debit, there is no sign, but for credit, normally you have it as in brackets. For example, this one. The credit will be shown as in the brackets or with a negative sign. Now what will happen is this 2255 will come under brackets. And this 8591 which was in bracket earlier, that bracket will not be there anymore. Clear with these options. Reverse debit and credit means whatever was credited earlier, now it will be debited and keep debit and credit in reverse. You will still have that at the same place, but you will be reversing the sign. Normally, what we have seen far is that companies prefer the first option, reverse debit and credit. If the $100 was put against like 8 tutorial feet 1 and 200 feet 2, they will just reverse out. The amounts will change from debit to credit and credit to debit. Now I hit here. Now for the Olive Garden, we just put some contact details. We add some like phone numbers, some address here. Because every company has some office address, the phone number and an email address. The same thing will do and that will be used in the transactions. For that, click on these 3 dots here as we call it. 3 dots are related to action. Company and we'll go to this added company contact information. If you have a phone number, click on phone number here. This will pick up the phone number format automatically. What is this phone device? It's like a mobile or a landline or anything else. I'll just select mobile here. If this is a primary phone number, right? Every company is a primary phone number where you can reach out like a toll free number or a paid number, where you can reach out for queries and everything. Similarly, if this is the phone number, then yes, mark this as your primary phone number and say it will be used in your billing remit too and shipping query. In billing means, suppose whenever you're creating the billing, we're talking about customer voices here. That time also, you can reach out to this number for any query you may have. Remit to means like if something has been remitted or payment has been transferred to this company and you have a query about that, then you can reach out to this number. Ship is like if this phone number can be used for shipping query. That's all. Similarly, we'll add the address here. USA, let's say 10th Cross. Fixing. City, let's say New York. State, let's say New York. Postal code, let's say this should work. And if it's a primary address, yes. And this would be for billing remit to shipping mailing, other business street address text. Now we've got an error in the postal code. Update to read only. Attribute is not allowed. Read only. Who is that? Read only. Not sure what it's talking about. Then let's add an email address here. What is the official? Whatever the official email address is, we can use that and use for billing remit to shipping and procurement related queries also. The same address can be reached out to. And I should say now, it's done. We have added the contact details. Now we'll add the text ID of this company. Again, we'll click on these three dots. Company. And added company text details. You can see we have different tabs here. One is General Setup Bank on Payment Text IDs Text Data Third Party Text option. For our demo purpose, it's like a very big area, vast area. We'll not go into that right now. Text IDs, we'll just go to Text IDs. We'll click on the plus sign here. And country for which you want to add the text ID as the USA here. Text ID type can be like employee ID number, legal form of the company number. Whatever it is, let's say this. And if you want to make this as a primary text ID of the company, you can do by clicking on this checkbox here. The system will mark this ID as the primary text ID for all the transactions. We'll hit now. We're getting close to start transactions. First of all, we'll go back to a company OG as a 1. As you can see, our company is almost ready. Now let me think, is there anything else I can figure out? Like what should we do? Company and company account information, accounting details. Added company text details also. Let's talk about the ownership details here. Basically, in this section, we'll say who owns this company. It's like a very big firm or sister firm who owns this company. If yes, let's say GMS USA owns this company. Some company acquires other small companies or computers. This would be the owner of the company. Ownership, like how much GMS USA owns this company called Olive Garden. And how much income they will get from this company, like 50%, 30%, 40%, 50%, 60%, whatever it is. For demo purpose, I'll save 100 here. And I'll hit. And let's say done. The company. Come on, why are you just sure? I think others are fine. Let's talk about like company ID definitions. Basically, what we define here is like the ID definition. Suppose the supply invoice number, customer invoice number which starts from supplier, invoice hash 1001 We can design those numbers within the system. It would be anytime we create a supplier invoice in the system that would have a number called supplier invoice number as SG1001, SG1002, SG1003, like that. We can. You will see, I'll just get it for the supply and requisition and purchase order. For rest, no need to create because we are just talking about the procurement side here. We'll just click on this, create ID definition sequence and enter here. Now in this line, we'll just say Olive supply invoice, increment sequence by 0 or 1. Suppose the first invoice is called as supply number 1001. Then the next should be supply invoice. If you add 1 to it, the second invoice will become 0G1002, 0G1004, like this. I'm saying increment sequence ID by 1. Padding or gap between the numbers. I'll just say 4 here. Then the sequence ID format. Now this is again like very high level things as I'm talking about right now, which doesn't make sense right now. But once you go through the document, you will realize that these are like important configuration. We should do them. And they are very easy to do also. I'll just say sequence ID format would be Olive supplier and invoice. Then we'll just say this with this sign here just above your enter keypad on your laptop or desktop. This would be the files you should use or the font here. We'll just say 1240 and close brackets now. And we'll roll to this. ID definitions is fine. Nothing here. Wow. Strange. Let's go back to our tab. Let's see what system is saying. It says enter formats into the container where you talk about the case. It says you need to be between the square brackets. That's EQR. Gotcha what it's saying. Include this sequence in the format. It's the one. Come on. The sequence is equal to the next sequence number. What's wrong? What's happening here? Let me open this. Oh, it has to be a CQ. Let us do this one. Finally, yes. It would be this will come like this. Olive supply inverse colons all in one. Because I use the padding 4 here and 3 zeros here, I can make it like 2 also. You will see the difference now. It will be olive supply inverse 1001. We'll just copy this and we'll use this in different places. This is done. Now let's go back. Supply inverse is done. Now let's say for requisitions. We'll create the same ID definitions of the sequence generator. It will be olive requisitions. Include another one padding 2. We'll say this time it was for requisition, right? Two are done. Supply inverse is done. Requisition is done. Let's do purchase orders. And once you purchase, we can come back to purchase. Or basically, we should do it itself. Purchase orders. This is incorrect. This time we would say, this is our purchase order. I'll do supply. I was making it up. It can be anything. It depends company to company what they want to see on the documents. Now let's create the last one, which should be requisitions, right? Requisitions is done. Purchase order. Advancement order is not required. Expense report. Expense report we can create. Let's see. Olive expense report. It is only one. Padding 2. Expense report right. This is also done. Once you're done with this configuration, then we have to create. We have to open the periods also. For that, there are few tasks. You will find out this task in the PDF document. Now we'll say create fiscal sheet. Initial fiscal schedule. Let me think about that. Work for this company. Create ledger. First, we'll create a ledger here. And this would be company called Augur 1. Actual ledger type. What ledger type means? The type of ledger which will hold the transaction. Actual means all the actual transactions. This place will hold all the actual transactions. We would put actuals here. And will not use this commitment obligation here. We just get rid of that. And in our obligation ledger. Again, that's like a very vast and different, like budgeting tool. We'll not get into that. Now the next task is create ledger year and periods. The company would be Augur 1. Fiscal year. Remember, this fiscal year will come from the fiscal schedule that we had selected. This one. This will create the ledger year and the ledger periods. This is done. Create ledger year and periods. Now we'll go to the task called mass update. Ledger period status. Basically, we'll just open the periods. Right now, the periods are enclosed, not open for any transaction. Using this task called mass update ledger period status, we'll open the periods for the transaction. We can start hitting supply invoices, purchase orders, requisitions, receipts, expenses, all those things. Right now, we'll set the point of the year. That would be the other. Let me just type 22 here. And that would be which one? There are many standard corporate schedule here. Let's see. This one. And the company is Augur 1. And for demo purpose, because we would be using a lot of months in purchase orders and transactions. That's why we are opening all periods here. Periods again are nothing but your months. We call them as months. Workday calls them as periods. That's all. We'll set this all period option here. Then sort by period. Then all book codes. And right now you can see they are in the created status, not in the open status. Right now, I want all of them to be open. I'll select all of them. New status would be open. They can be open for the transition that we are going to create from open here. You can see the moment I select open, it has put the open status against all of the periods here. Then I'll just hit here. I can use any month to do any transition. This is done. This is also done. This is also done. Anything else is pending for this company? I don't think. This is pretty much like we are all set now. We'll use this Olive Garden for our transactions. We'll use this for supplying voices, purchase orders, and many more things.
Please do like, share, and subscribe to our channel. For more information, contact us sales@uptalk.com.